This really isn't a how-to tutorial or anything. This is really me. It is kind of like how to, but it's me trying to figure out how to, because me trying to plan things out have never worked out according to plan. Me trying to schedule things out has never worked out according to that schedule. It's always like, I don't know, something always came up, or I just I'm just not good with planning and scheduling things out. I'll be like, even for my birthdays, I'll be saying, you know, I'm gonna try to plan something to do. I'll be trying to do it months ahead, and my birthday will come around and I ain't planned nothing. I'm doing something last minute. Why am I writing today? It's supposed to say schedule. What I was trying to say is, I've always been the type of person that just goes with the flow, basically. So for my birthday, went with the flow. For my son's first birthday, went with the flow. And that was mainly because his dad had to go out of town for work. So it was just a whole situation that was just like, you know, let me just throw something together. But for my 30th birthday this year, I was planning things last year in like October, November or something. I don't know. I could go in my notes. Well, I'm already in my notes, but I could go to the note where I was trying to write out things that I wanted to do. And did I do those things? Absolutely not. You know, I still did something, but it was, I don't even think what I did was my plan. It was really my sister came and planned it out for me. But basically, I'm wanting to plan things and schedule things out a lot better now, because I don't know, just because I have a son for one, and I don't like just going with the flow all the time. You can't go with the flow all the time with everything. Like, it's good sometimes, but not all the time. And I don't want to just keep going with the flow with everything with him. But also, so I haven't worked for 2 years. I stopped working during my pregnancy because I was passing out on the job and things like that. So I just had to sit my pregnancy out. And then I didn't want to jump right back into work after I had my son. Now he's about to be 2 in February. I don't want to just go work anywhere or just find the best paying job that I can find or anything like that. I'm trying to find things that's going to be in alignment with certain things that I'm trying to work towards. So I feel like, so I'm already in the process of most of these things that I'm trying not to go into too much detail right now, because I want things to actually be set in place before I talk about them fully. But basically, there is somewhere that I'm probably about to start working. I've already been in there for the past week or so, and I've been having to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I have to be there at 7:30 in the morning. And I'm not used to getting up that early anymore since I haven't been working. I be up all night. I'm used to just having my own schedule, being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, aside from having to tend to my son, because, you know, of course, there's certain things that I can't do because I have to tend to him. For the most part, I was able to stay up all night and not have to worry about getting up at a certain time to go clock in somewhere, and having to worry about not having the energy to do a certain job that I need to do. I'm realizing that it's hard to try to, because usually I do this, I guess this can tie along with it too, with the whole planning and scheduling things out, how I'm trying to do these videos. I usually just do the journal entry separately, and I don't talk or anything. I just focus on whatever I'm trying to journal out, and then I'll come and do a voiceover on top of it. But right now, this is all basically, I'm talking as I'm trying to journal at the same time, and it's kind of throwing me off, so hold that thought. Basically, I'm used to staying up late at night, getting up. I still have to get up early with my son, but, you know, we can just lounge around the house. Of course, he's going to want to run around and play and stuff, but I don't got to be running around with him the whole time. I can do it a little bit, and then I can relax a little bit while he's just up around playing and doing what he want to do. Or sometimes we'll be watching shows like Miss Rachel, Learning with Miss Houston, or we can just be sitting down reading books and stuff. Like, I don't have to be up doing too much physical activity. But now that I am possibly going back into work, I have to be on a certain schedule. Like, it's not something that I can just say, hey, I can, you know, be up all night, do whatever I want to do. I ain't got to worry about X, Y, and Z. Because now if I'm trying to go work somewhere and it ain't something that, you know, if I'm clocking into somebody else's thing that they done built, I have to be on somebody else's time. So now I'm getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then another thing, going into work again, I was considering doing part-time work just to kind of get back into it. I didn't want to, I guess, overwhelm myself, and I didn't want to have to worry about my son too much, like having to get him into a daycare or get somebody to babysit him for a full-time job. But the route that I'm going, I really don't have to worry about that right now. So that's good, but it won't be a part-time job. It won't be a part-time schedule. I will be full-time. Let me highlight full-time. Down here, I want to get into the ways that I think may help me start planning better. Like I said, this is all a process for me. I'm trying to figure things out along the way. Me having to get up at this certain time now, I feel like is a start, because now I have to be on a certain schedule. So now I haven't been able to go to sleep earlier. I've still been up late. There was one night where I just could not go to sleep at all, but things end up working in my favor that day to where I didn't even have to go in. So things just worked in my favor that day. But that is something that I want to work on. I do want to work on. So let me write that down here. Work. Oh, that's too big. Okay. I don't feel like making it smaller. Work. What? I did not click that. Work on. Make this smaller. Better sleep habits. Now, I told myself, if I'm gonna be getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, this is what I told myself. The latest that I can stay up is, no, not 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock p.m. or something. I said the latest I can be up is 1 o'clock in the morning. Let me say, no sleep. I don't know. No, not sleep. Hold on. Don't go to sleep later than 1 a.m. Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? So that may need to be something that I need to work on, because what? 1 a.m. Like, I definitely need to change that time a little bit earlier. But still right now, because I already know I'm not going, if I say, nah, let me change that to 10 a.m., I'm still not going to try to go to bed at 10 a.m. So right now I'm going to have to keep that at the 1 a.m., but that is going to be something that I need to work on. And I guess I can like maybe slowly work my way up. So maybe I can say 12:30 a.m. instead, when I am ready to try to move that time up. But right now, it is what it is. When I set my alarm for 6 o'clock in the morning so I can snooze it for a little bit, and then I actually get up at 6:30. So I give myself 30 minutes to lay there and, prepare myself that, you got to get up and start getting ready. So I give myself that time. And by 6:30, that's when I need to be getting up, getting ready, getting in the shower and all of that. So no later than 6:30 is when I need to shower. And by then, I should make that blue. But by then, if I'm in the shower by 6:30, then the time ends up running smoothly. But I still want to work on getting that time a little bit earlier, starting with 12:30, and then go up to 12, and then 11, and so on. Now, with this schedule, if I would be working Monday through Friday from, let's just say 7 to 5, because I probably wouldn't get home till about 5 p.m. And so let's just say I get home about 5 p.m. That'll give me about, 8 hours. If I stay up until 1, it'll give me 8 hours to try to figure out what I want to do with that day. But I won't give myself that full 8 hours, because like I said, I do want to change, not there, up here, what this time actually is going to be. So let me just say, okay, so once I get home, about 5 p.m., I'll probably eat. That's what I usually do. I'll get home, eat, after I get me and my son together, get our clothes off and everything. We'll eat something, get settled in. And I'll say about 6 to 7 p.m. I don't know what to put there yet, but around 8 to 9 p.m. is usually when my son is getting ready for bed. 10 the latest now. It used to be 11 the latest. But now 10. So I'm gonna say from 9 to 10, getting my son to sleep. Then, of course, I'll have 11 to 1 a.m. for me to be getting ready for bed. So it's really not a lot of time with queuing in the time that I have to spend with my son. And then just some of these blocks you probably got to leave empty when you have a son, or not just when you have a son, but I'm saying that because I have a son, but when you have kids in general, because things aren't always going to go on schedule with that, especially if they're not in school yet. So my son is not in school yet, so I have to account that time that he's going to be with me, not in school, to where I can say that, I have this free time until he gets off. And even if he was in school right now, I would be at work during that time. So now, looking at this, if I'm going to be at work from 7 to 5 p.m. and then I have to, look at all these times, times where I'm having to get my son to bed, get myself ready for bed, kind of winding down. I can be scrolling on my phone or whatever, writing some poetry. 6, 7 p.m. is probably me and my son playing, or I can cue in a little break for myself during that time, maybe around 8 p.m. So I can write in there 8 p.m. Free time or something for myself. And so this is basically what I've been doing anyways without me sitting here trying to plan it out. So if this was going to be my schedule, if I'm going to be working Monday through Friday at that time, and then this is how things is going to be when I get off of work. Most of my free time, if I want to still do YouTube, if I want to still be writing poetry, because I'm working on a poetry collection, me wanting to get that collection done by a certain time, me trying to, because I'm posting on Instagram again, I gotta make time for all of that stuff. So I have to look at the weekend now. That is messy as heck. Weekend plans. And then we use this to highlight. So I just filled out all the rest of this and was doing all this talking, and it wasn't even screen recording no more. So basically I done already filled out pretty much the rest of this entry. So I'll just go over what I put here for the weekend plans. Of course, I'll have to include parenting unless I send him off with his aunt for, a few hours on a Saturday or a Sunday with one of his aunts. So I'll have to include parenting. And then, of course, the things that I enjoy doing, like that I'm doing with the YouTube videos, writing my poetry, because I'm trying to do this poetry collection, working on my Insta poetry as well, because I have been posting poetry to Instagram again as well on my personal page and for the community page that I started for writers and poets. With those things, I can still do them on the weekdays. That could be included into these, like this 8 p.m. free time. I could be on Instagram posting a poem or, engaging with the community. Once I do want to start going out to open mics and things like that. So if those are going on a weekday at 7 p.m. or something, I can go to them sometimes. And that's included within this free time. It's things that I can work around. That's why I'm not going to be too set in stone with trying to schedule things out. I'm still going to leave things open, but I do need to start having a little bit of structure somewhere and not just having everything just so free flow. And I also added family time, because usually on the weekends is when family get together for birthday parties and things like that, because that's when the kids are out of school and usually parents are off work. I know there are a lot of jobs where you work on the weekends. Like when I worked at the hotel, I had to work on weekends, but at least I got off early because I went in early. And I got off by like 3 p.m. unless I stayed overtime, which I did a lot, but I was still getting off at a decent time. I don't want to set any set times on the weekends. I want to leave the weekends a little bit more open, where the weekdays I do have a set, time for certain things like going to work and things like that. Some things that those haves and musts that must be on schedule. But the weekends, if I don't have things that I must do, I don't want to include certain times, especially for writing poetry and stuff, like creative things like that. I don't want to make a set time for like, on Saturdays at 3 p.m. or Saturdays at 7 a.m. is when I can write. Because that's not always when you're going to have a spark of inspiration, or it's not when something's going to come to you, an idea comes to you, a poetry line, a song line, a whole chorus for a song or whatever. Like, there's been times where I've actually been at work and a line for a song or a line for poetry has come to me, and I've used printer paper, whatever type of paper was available where I was working at, and I wrote those lines down and put it in my pocket. So I'm not gonna set a specific time to write. If I have an idea or if something comes to me, a line comes to me, I'm gonna find a way to write that line down, and that's just that. So then I finally got into the steps that I am going to be taking to see if this is going to be, a good way for me to start planning and scheduling things out. We're going to see if this works for me. It could be just because I'm a Pisces. I know it's some people out there that be like, man, here y'all go with these zodiac stuff. Just because you're a Pisces don't mean X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Look, whatever. Anyways, I'm a Pisces, and I heard a lot of Pisces are not good with planning things, and our opposite sign is Virgo, and the Virgos usually be the ones that know how to plan good and all that. Earth sign, and then the Pisces, we water signs. But I'm going to work something out that works best for me. So the first thing that I wrote is have things to do. And that could be work, or for me, I do YouTube, I write poetry, I do journaling and all of that. So these are things you have to have things to do, because if you don't, then what are you going to be planning? What are you going to be scheduling for if you don't have anything to do? So that's what and I went into a lot more detail when I was writing this out the first time, but it just was not recording. That's okay. Number 2, I put have something that must be on a schedule, like a job. So I put an arrow up there because it's kind of tied into that. Have a job, or if you're in school, etc. So if you have things to do and have things that must be on a certain schedule, that's already a start. Number 3, know your work time and your rest time. So for example, sleep. So if you got to be at work, if you're working full time for 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, you already know that that's 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, that you can't be doing YouTube, or that you can't be recording your songs or something, like whatever things that you enjoy that you're trying to do. But you also have to account for the time that you need to rest, because we do need to rest. We can't be just work, play, but no rest. So you have to account in the time that you sleep. And most people want to get their full 8 hours of sleep. So if you work 8 hours and you need to sleep 8 hours, that's already a certain amount of time each day that you need to account for, that you can't be doing other things. And then right here, number 4, set a specific time or a specific day for pleasure, joy, things that bring you peace, self-care. And I put in parentheses for the self-care, that should really be every day, at least 5 to 10 minutes if you can find something. And by that, I don't mean, because some people think just taking a shower is self-care. And I don't think that, it could be a part of the self-care, but I don't think that should be the self-care in itself. If somebody asks you, what did you do for yourself today? And you say, I took a shower. That's just something we all do. That's something we all do for ourselves and for other people too, because we don't want to be going around stinking and looking all dirty and stuff. Like, that's foul. So I think self-care is more along the things that bring you peace and, your pleasures and joys and things like that. So for me, writing poetry, maybe I can journal or write a poem about something positive I did that day, or something positive that I'm looking forward to doing. And that could be an act of self-care for myself. And for whatever that may be for you, you figure that out, but don't just limit it to taking a shower. And number 5, I left pretty open, because I was like, what can I put here? What's something that I can add for number 5? Am I missing something from this list? Of course, as I'm working on these things throughout these upcoming days and weeks or whatever, I can be adding to this and taking things away. I'm going to be learning what does work and what doesn't work for myself. So, that's going to be something that I'm going to have to be working through. As long as I stick to it and not just write this down for nothing and not even attempt to do any of this, then something will work out for me. I'll figure something out. The way I'm talking right now, like, I don't even know, but I'll figure something out. Let me know if how do you plan things out? If you work full time, if you have kids, you have a business or a YouTube channel or something that you're doing. What's something that I don't already have on this list that I didn't put on here that you think might help or that helps you? Once I stop recording this, I'll probably think of some other stuff and be adding on here as well. I'm really out here trying to plan and schedule some stuff now. I'm out here trying to be a planner. I don't be sticking to those plans. That's why I wrote right here, disciplined. Because that is definitely something else that needs to be worked through. It's not even just trying to work on planning and scheduling things out. You also have to be disciplined.